Wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge in practice. Selective knowledge facilitates error. In spirit is truth. Darshini in Spirit will help you find the answers you seek. Darshini sees. Internationally renowned clairvoyant and spiritual guide Darshini has a refreshingly honest and candid style that contributes greatly to her ability to counsel, heal, and guide. Motivational speaker, author, teacher. Experience Darshini in Spirit at 714-348-9994. Visit darshini-inspirit.com.
Experience the power of being. Join author and intuitive life counselor Ron Ash on an infinite journey of enlightenment. Being explores the various modalities associated with self-help and spirituality. Master divine guidance. Connect to source energy and expand your consciousness. For a complete list of our affiliate stations and showtimes, visit beingwithronash.com.
Being with Ron Ash. I'm Ron Ash, your host, and we are the Being Talk Radio Network, live and local, national and international, on great stations worldwide. For a complete list of our affiliates and showtimes, visit us online at mybtrn.com. That's mybtrn.com. Today you are Being with Ron Ash and Darshini in Spirit. Good morning, Darshini.
Good morning. How is everybody today?
I can only speak for myself, but I have to say I've been unusually exhausted, regardless of how much sleep that I've been getting.
Yeah, you know, it is kind of funny, as if you, I don't know if you saw the Phase 5 video, but I really feel this is attached to it. A lot of people seem to be resounding with that. I mean, really identifying it with it. And it seems that it's, part of it is like in a chrysalis stage, that we're changing now so rapidly. But we're not doing it like, okay, this is a stage for 5 months and then you'll be okay. I really feel that it's like a loop, but it's getting shorter. Sometimes it does get longer. But when you feel as if it's like drug sleep, but you can't sleep, in the day you're sluggish, no motivation, it's kind of associated with certain signs of depression. Or some people say, I never get into depression, but they do. But they don't realize it's also a funk. You know, that's a funk. People handle it differently, but either a funk or a depression. And this is all about the renewal and the changes that we're making in our lives. And also, you may find, and I don't know if any listeners are going to comment on this or say that this has happened, that other than the accidents or health problems or challenges, as if, as I said, squeezing the head, that's what's going on. More challenges, and they're really out of the norm. They're not regular challenges. You know, somebody's getting more upset than and they never are a person who gets upset. All these kind of differences. In other words, we're waking up or being woken up to circumstances that are out of the norm, bottom line, really. But does any of that make sense to you?
Yes, and also, are there symptoms associated with this, such as nausea, more intense, realistic dreaming?
Yes. All right. That's no. A lot of people also still feel that dizzying, and the dizzying is associated with a nauseous feeling, as if even when you're eating food, as the foods that, I don't know if this has happened to you, Ron, but the foods that have, usually you love, suddenly not repelled, but you do get a nauseous reaction, or you're just not wanting to eat as much. I don't know, have you had that reaction?
I've noticed I haven't been eating for maybe, along an 8 or 9 period of time during the day. I'll get up, I'll have coffee, I'll eat a little breakfast, no lunch, and I'll go all the way to around, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night before having anything for dinner, and I'll have something very light.
See, I really think this is part of that. In a way, it's a spiritual change, but it's a metabolic change. And that's what those signs are.
Mm-hmm.
It's the chrysalis stage is, it's as if the only nourishment you really need is clarification. Mm-hmm. Clarification of your spirit, of what's going on in your life, clearing the mess. I'd love to know how many people out there really have had this spring cleaning fit. They,
Mm-hmm.
they want to clean everything. Dusting and stuff.
That is so funny because the night before last, and I almost continued it yesterday, I cleared out my closet. Everything that I had in there that I hadn't wore in, over a year and a half, and had no intention of ever wearing again, I began to fold it up, put it in piles, and get it ready to donate.
Good. And that's what we're all doing. At least a lot of us are doing. But it shows that you're making way. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I really feel that we should have done this around about January, but for some reason it's as if it got hooked
Mm-hmm.
and shoved back. And the period of adjustment got lengthened. So really, people are saying, okay, well, that's great, but I'm tired of this. When does it end?
Mm-hmm.
It really is, it depends on other people, how can I say it? Yeah, individuals. But majority, you'll see by the end of May, it'll cycle into a new, really into June,
Mm-hmm.
that you'll cycle into a different, how can I say, a phase. But again, these signs are going to continue in a loop, and it is a very interesting one. I would like also to bring up that if you found this, but I have,
Mm-hmm.
and that is that I put out a video, and I just mentioned it, that I was going to put this other video out last week, that we are getting good news in the economy and a few other things. And boy, did I get inundated with angry people saying, no, you don't know what you're talking about, and the economy is going to be bad, and it's going to be horrible, and it'll stay that way, and we're doomed. And, I would like, this is part of it.
Well, that's a switch, because usually they call you the Doomsday person.
Yeah, thank you. No, I'm
you
trying
should be
to,
happy.
I'm a realist, and I'm trying to give them the good news, but it's just, I'm going to put a huge video out on this, hopefully next week, but it's basically, these are people who are stuck in prepper mode, and, really have bought into the media, and how they're controlling us. And actually, I went to see a seminar, and it was by a top economist, and he said people don't realize we're in the fastest recovery, even faster than the 1980s recession and 90s. So, why are you still in this prepper mode? Yes, on an individual basis, there could be crises and, devastation. We're not talking about the individual here, but if you are in that mindset that, I'm not going to get better because the economy's, I'm not going to get a job, don't go that way, because quite frankly, you remember, your mind is a magnet. Mm-hmm. And anything you fixate on, you will co-create. So just expand it a bit, and you'll see that there are huge opportunities. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know it'll be a still cycle, but there is going to be much better by the end of July. I see a huge expansion. But again, even though, the government's kind of sometimes working against us sometimes, I'm talking about with the sequestering and everything else, but there are huge, big signs that we are on a major recovery. But we have to change it. It doesn't mean to say, we can go back to those great times where we can spend anything and not be responsible. No. If you haven't changed your behavior, guess what? Mm-hmm. It'll come back on your doorstep. And this is what this clarification period is adjustment of where are you now? Who are you now? Right? Mm-hmm. And clear the stuff that you don't need. Move into a new energy. And, it sounds a bit woo-woo saying that, but quite frankly, that's what it is. It's to enjoy it. And who wants to really have the, I wouldn't say the ugliness, but all the stresses of all the years before? You're carrying the luggage, right?
It's ironic that you say that, because as I was in the process of cleaning out all those pieces of old clothing that I no longer wear, many of which are not in style any longer, that I wore in a different lifetime almost.
Yeah.
Because I've had so much change over the last couple of years. There was an energy associated with that clothing.
And the growth. Everything is energy, right? And this is what the book was about. It's just about literally everything is energy. And when we hear a song, or we get transported back, right, emotionally. With such sentient beings, and we feel so much that when even the logics, you will go transported back. So things that you don't want to, if it's a divorce or if it's an end of a relationship, especially because they're the real high emotion places, get rid of it. Say goodbye and either pack it away if you don't want to get rid of it, put it in a storage, or pack it away. You don't need to be constantly reminded about that. But, your anchors are what you need to start cutting now, or at least putting away and packing away until you're really moved into this new phase.
Well, that's drawing our energy toward the past, distracting us from the future.
Correct. That's exactly what it is. It's not only distraction, but it's actually still giving us the problems of the past.
Yeah, right? We talked about it earlier in the week also. We have the tendency as human beings to romanticize about the past, and we spoke specifically on past relationships and how we look at those relationships, and, the bad dissipates over the years, and we only see what was really fantastic about it. And now we have to take that, and we often compare the new people coming into our lives to what we perceive that we had with the old.
Yes, and the measure of it. We measure them up, and that's wrong, because you're in a new place, they're in a different place. So why do you still, it's like a security blanket, Ron. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
That, you're so feeling secure about that relationship and the good things on it, you completely forget about the harassment, or God knows, the freaky way they react, whatever, and you only remember the good things. Because you're trying to, it's a survivalist modality, I'm sure. But quite frankly, that is going to be, I won't going to be, but it's something that you should really look at. And get rid of, write it down. Yeah. There's an exercise. Write it down what you perceive that relationship to be. If you're stuck and you don't want, you want people in your life, a new person in your life, but nothing seems to be happening because, quite frankly, your aura is saying, hey, you haven't got over it.
Yeah.
And if you're still obsessing, or if you say, oh, no, I'm not obsessing, and a lot of people say that, and I said, really? Well, there is something there because you haven't moved on. So really look at that and say, why are you, all you really want are certain aspects of that relationship to manifest in a new one. But you're hooking onto the last.
Correct. And there are two vital elements associated with any successful relationship, and those things are love and respect, adoration and appreciation. You can't have one without the other. You have to have both. I don't care if it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's romantic interest, love and respect, adoration and appreciation. You can't have a relationship with just respect, appreciation. There has to be both. You can't have a relationship with just love, adoration. You have to have both. There's a balance.
And there's a basis. There has to be a firmer foundation. You're completely correct. It's so sad that people don't, I don't know, if they want a storybook thing or they're looking at TV or films and having that perception, that's celluloid love, right? It really doesn't exist. Yes, it's a good intro, but you have to have something on a base, a good base on that one. So, I don't know. It's not exactly sad, but it's frustrating because you and I do readings, and you're telling them and that's a lot of people. I always say, I really strongly advise that you actually record it, because what happens is on a reading, they only want to hear what they want to hear, not what you're trying to tell them.
That's
and so sad because, I can remember things. I remember readings, don't ask me how. But and I said, no, that's not what I said. And, and they insist on it because that's what their mind's feeding them. And some of them are a bit, obsessive about it. And I said, no. And that's why the CD is there for clarification that, you're not listening.
Well, I guess they figured they were close enough, and they don't perceive a future where they would have it all. They would rather be the shriveled up plant, only getting water or only getting sunlight, never getting both.
True. And that is what they are comfortable with. That's not what they know. That's, I don't believe. They see what is out there, but the thing is, the security is pain. The pain that they know. So that's fine. They have to cycle out of it, but only in their own time. We can't. We can lead them to the water. We can't make them drink. But that's what we're here as a mirror, right? To everybody.
It's time speeding up.